Welcome to the Mystic Messenger. I'm your host, the Mystic. In today's episode, we go far beyond the surface, because your soul didn't come to Earth to be understood by your sun sign alone. You came encoded with multidimensional map, and most astrologers never teach you how to read it. This is not about you're a Virgo, so you're analytical, or you're a Pisces, so you're dreamy. This is about soul memory, karma, divine assignment. The real birth chart is a spiritual contract, a coded, schematic written with frequencies, karma, trauma imprints, divine gifts, and soul assignments. But there's a reason most people never see it that way, because modern astrology has been filtered through personality interpretation, not initiation. Here's the truth. Every planet in your chart is a spiritual teacher. Every sign is a sacred archetype. Every house is a chamber of your soul's journey on Earth. And when you're ready to evolve, you must move past the popularized layers and learn to read your soul's hidden instructions. Let's start with this powerful shift. Instead of asking, "What's my sun sign?" ask, "What is the core lesson my soul came to master and transmute through this sun placement?" I'm going to use my chart, my own personal natal chart, in this podcast so that we can decode this together and maybe give you insight to decode in your own. So my chart, I have the sun in Virgo. But the sun isn't just about details or perfectionism. The sun is in my 6th house, aligned with sacred service, purification, and embodied mastery. But that's not the whole story. My sun is in the 6th house of daily rituals, the body, health, and spiritual work through earthly service. This tells us something deeper about me. My identity evolution is tied to learning how to heal myself and others by integrating soul consciousness into everyday life. Virgo here is not just about doing things right. It's purifying timelines, discerning truth from illusion, and creating order in a chaotic world. My Chiron and North Node are in the 4th house of Gemini, meaning my identity and path of healing is not just about the self, but about healing ancestral lines, rewriting family consciousness, and learning to speak from my emotional truth. That's already deep, and we've only just begun. So, in this episode, we'll explore how to decode your soul blueprint using real tools no one teaches. By the end of this episode, you'll be able to sit with your chart and say, "Now I see why my soul chose this path, and where I've been unconsciously repeating or resisting my evolution," because the blueprint doesn't lie. So let's dive deeper. When you first lay eyes on your birth chart, you see a cosmic wheel, symbols scattered across 12 houses like a galactic puzzle. But if you step back and look again, something else emerges. There's a pattern, a shape, an intentional clustering. And within that shape lies one of the most overlooked secrets of the soul's mission. So grab your birth chart and let's take a look. In my case, my chart is what we call a bucket shape. The majority of my planets are clustered in the 6th through 11th houses, the upper right quadrant of my chart. These houses deal with service, responsibility, mastery, community, purpose, and vision. But one planet stands alone. It's the moon. It's in my 1st house, forming what's called a handle. This handle is no small detail. The handle is the anchor of my soul's experience, the lens through which all other energies are filtered to me. A bucket chart means the soul came here with a highly focused mission, often involving service or mastery in a specific area of life, a single planet, the handle, acting as the gateway to my wholeness. In my case, the moon is emotions, intuition, and soul memory. In the 1st house, this is my identity, embodiment, and presence. this becomes the sacred tool. My soul strategy becomes, I bring my inner world with me into everything. I lead from presence, I serve through emotion, I master through empathy. This is a powerful setup for a soul teacher, a healer, or a seer who is here to navigate the external world but never forget where they came from. Your chart isn't balanced across all houses. So you ask, just like mine, what's the purpose? This distribution within my chart, my soul placed emphasis on the upper hemisphere evolution through external reality, real world action, social service, and fulfilling a public or spiritual role. My soul also chose the Western hemisphere, indicating that my growth is through relationships, feedback, reflection, and engaging with others. But it also put my moon in the first house, anchoring my journey in emotional intelligence, instinct, and spiritual sensitivity. This is divine polarity. I'm here to lead many, but I will only succeed if I'm deeply in tune with my own emotional truth. I must be seen, but I must never lose my center. I must hold space for others, but remember to self-nurture myself first. So some may ask why the chart shape matters. Many astrologers overlook the shape, but in esoteric astrology, we know that form reveals function. The cluster in 6th house through 11th house, I came to refine systems, heal work patterns, liberate communities, and help others awaken. My moon in the 1st house, I must first embody my inner self, trust my emotional instincts, and walk as my own medicine. My chart teaches me this soul lesson. I am the container. I hold the space. I'm the very being is the sacred technology you bring to the collective. But I can't pour from it unless it's full. Hence the bucket shape. If you're listening to this and wondering how to apply this in your own chart, ask, where are most of your planets located? Are they all in one half of the wheel, one quadrant? Is there one planet that sits alone opposite all the others? If yes, that's your handle. That is your sacred tool in this life. Are your planets above the horizon? Ask. Which means you evolve publicly through social contribution, like myself. Are they below the horizon? Which means you evolve privately through emotional depth and spiritual embodiment. Are they on the right side of the chart? Which means you evolve through others. If they're on the left side of the chart, you evolve independently through self-direction. And if you're like myself, mostly upper right with a lunar anchor, then your life becomes a spiritual bridge between emotional truth and collective ascension. The soul's compass, Chiron and the North Node, and the sacred wound that opens the gate. If the birth chart is a soul map, then the North Node and Chiron are its compass, and the trail of sacred breadcrumbs left behind by your higher self. They don't speak in the thunderous voices of the outer planets or shout for attention like Mars, but their messages, they are everything. They are the keys that unlock your next incarnation cycle or keep you stuck in the loops of karmic repetition. Let's begin with what these two truly represent. The North Node isn't a planet. It's a point where the moon's orbit intersects the ecliptic. But don't let its technical nature fool you. It is your soul's GPS. It shows the direction of growth, the uncomfortable terrain that you must cross to evolve. It's not what comes easily, it's what calls you forward. Now, let's look at my chart. My North Node is in Gemini, the 4th house. Here's what this tells us. My soul has mastered Sagittarius South Node traits in past lives, which is spiritual wisdom, truth-seeking, and big picture understanding. But in this lifetime, I must ground those truths into emotional presence, intimate communication, and mental clarity. My soul came to shift from abstract knowing to embodied, lived experience. I must learn to find divinity not just in the stars, but in the kitchen, in family healing, in words softly spoken, and in the daily sacred rituals of home and heart. The 4th house makes it deeply personal for me. Heal the root, speak the truth, be the safe haven you never had. That is what I'm here to do. Chiron is known as the wounded healer, but that title barely scratches the surface. Chiron is the place in your chart where your greatest wound lives, but also where your greatest medicine flows. It's not just about what hurts, it's about the soul contract you made to alchemize what hurt into wisdom for others. Let's look at my chart, for example. Chiron is also in Gemini, 4th house, a rare and powerful doubling I have. This means my wound and my soul path are the same. I'm here to heal emotional disconnection, mental fragmentation, and the inability to express deep truth within family systems. This tells us that I may have had childhood environments where emotional safety was lacking, or where communication was invalidated, neglected, or even weaponized. But that's exactly why I came here. I'm not just here to overcome this wound. I'm here to teach others how to turn fragmented stories into sacred teachings, to speak the unspoken, to bring logic and love together in the same breath, to teach others how to find their voice in the very place where their voice was once taken from them. So, when Chiron and the North Node are conjunct, as they are in my chart, or placed in the same sign or house, the wound and the path merge. There is no bypassing, there is no skipping. You cannot evolve without facing the pain. But your healing becomes your legacy. This alignment asks, will you become the very thing you once needed? So how can you apply this to your own chart? First, find your North Node. What sign and house is it in? That's the direction your soul must grow into. Next, find your South Node, which is usually always in the opposite sign. This is your comfort zone, your karmic mastery, and your fallback. Now find your Chiron. The sign and house it's in reveals the deepest soul wound and what you're here to transform for yourself and others. If your Chiron is in the same sign or house as your North Node, like mine, you're here to walk a path of radical healing and transmutation. The truth is, your pain is not a punishment, it's an invitation. Your North Node is not a demand, it's a remembering. And your Chiron wound, it's the portal your soul chose to re-enter wholeness. Not despite the wound, but through it. Every soul comes to earth with something hidden, something ancient, something so powerful that entire systems were built to suppress it. That something is the black moon Lilith, the raw, feminine, primal force inside of all of us. Not just for women, but for every soul. Lilith is the energy of truth before it was tamed. In myth, Lilith was Adam's first wife, created equal to him, but she refused to submit, to be silent, to be less than. So she was exiled from Eden and erased from most spiritual texts. That's exactly what Black Moon Lilith represents in your chart. The part of your soul that remembers its power before conditioning. The place you were punished or rejected in past lives or childhood for being too much, too wild, or too true. The gift that must be reclaimed in this lifetime for you to embody your full blueprint. Let's look at where my Lilith is. you can see that it's in Aries, which is my second house. This placement is pure, untamed fire. Let's break it down. An Aries Lilith. I was born a warrior, not a follower. In past lives, or early life, I was likely punished for being assertive, outspoken, bold, or unwilling to conform. I hold ancient memory of self-sovereignty, the kind that burns down illusions. But this fire may have scared others. It may have been silenced, shamed, or distorted. My second house, Lilith. My worth, voice, and right to exist, as I am, has been the battleground. I may have sacrificed financial stability, comfort, or approval just to honor my truth. This is the realm of values, and my soul is here to redefine value by my own terms. The Lilith placement is not subtle. Your soul encoded the lesson. I will not trade my truth for safety. I came to reclaim sacred anger, embodied power, and self-worth that does not rely on any type of permission. This isn't about rebellion for its own sake. It's about reclaiming the exiled archetype within. The priestess who spoke prophecy and was called mad. The wild woman who walked barefoot in the woods while others stayed in cages. The divine masculine who refused to dominate and was cast out of those who still need hierarchies. How this may have shown up. People misunderstanding me as aggressive when I was simply being honest. Being gaslit into questioning my own intuition. Having to choose between survival and authenticity. Feeling a burning need to break free from anything fake, even when it costs me comfort. But here's the alchemy. Lilith in Aries in the second house is my fuel. It is my invitation to embody sovereignty, raw truth, sacred rage, and unapologetic self-value. To reclaim your Lilith, you must face internalized fear of being too much, the trauma around being abandoned for being authentic, the ancestral chains that told you must be nice to survive. But on the other side, you become untouchable. You become the living embodiment of power that cannot be sold or silenced. So, ask yourself, what part of me have I exiled to be accepted? Where do I feel most rejected for who I truly am? What truth lives in my body that I've never said out loud? That's your Lilith. And when you reclaim her, the rest of your chart comes alive, because she is the spark, the fire, the original code before distortion. You were not born to obey. You were born to remember. Lilith is not your flaw. She is your feral wisdom, your ancestral magic, your return to Eden by your own rules. The vertex, a portal to fate. There are coordinates in your chart that whisper, not scream. The vertex is one of them. It's not a planet. It doesn't speak loudly like Mars or Saturn. But when it moves, your life shifts, and nothing stays the same. The vertex is a mathematical point in your natal chart where the ecliptic and the prime vertical intersect in the western hemisphere of the chart. It's most commonly found in the 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th houses, and it governs fated encounters, soul contract activations, timeline shifts, and karmic course corrections. In short, it is the gate where destiny enters, and your free will adjusts. Think of it like the trapdoor in the Matrix. It only opens when it's time to meet someone who changes everything. Most people live their lives reacting to outer circumstances. But when your vertex is triggered, especially by a planetary transit, you're not reacting. You're responding to soul architecture. These are the moments when you meet people you were meant to meet. Some call it fate. This might include a twin flame or karmic counterpart, a mentor, student, or child, a soul contract formed before incarnation, or someone meant to teach you the hardest lesson your soul agreed to learn. This isn't romantic fantasy. This is energetic architecture. The vertex pinpoints your destiny intersections, the ones that were pre-programmed into your blueprint long before you came to Earth. My vertex is in Virgo, the 7th house, the sacred mirror of perfection. Now that we've opened the gate to the vertex, let's decode what it means for me specifically. My vertex in Virgo, 7th house. This combination holds some of the most spiritually demanding soul contracts a person can face, but also the most clarifying. Virgo is the sign of discernment, refinement, and service. But on a soul level, Virgo governs embodied truth, functional love, and purification of ego through experience. When the vertex sits in Virgo, the soul calls in mirrors that reflect what is broken, imbalanced, or unresolved within. It attracts healers or wounded teachers, often disguised as romantic partners, guides, or even enemies. It activates a deep spiritual yearning to purify, fix, or restore order to chaos, but always through relationships. These people aren't always pleasant. They are precise. Now layer that with the 7th house, the domain of relationship, contracts, soul bonds, and balance. A vertex here demands that I evolve through partnership, not isolation. That every soul connection becomes a mirror reflecting who I am and who I am not. That I refine myself through the fire of intimate encounters, especially those that challenge my ideals of love, devotion, and purity. I'm not here to fix others. I'm here to recognize myself through them, and in doing so, awaken to my sacred work in the world. In Virgo's 7th house, the soul must learn healing isn't about perfection. It's about choosing people who mirror your evolution, not your wounds. Activation of the vertex. Your vertex isn't always active. It stays dormant, almost invisible, until the right trigger arrives. That trigger is a transit, a progression, or a synastry connection that ignites that point. For a vertex in Virgo 7th house, activation happens through a planet transiting my 7th house, a planet conjunct my vertex, a relationship partner whose personal planet touches my vertex, or progressions that move my own inner planets to that degree. These activations often signal a meeting that changes the trajectory of my life, a partnership that seems fated or impossible to shake, a lesson in discernment. Is this person aligned, or am I projecting? When my Virgo vertex is activated, I might experience a magnetic pull towards someone who seems oddly familiar, an intense relationship that starts fast and transforms everything in my life, feelings of responsibility, fixing, or serving the other, an urge to refine my standards in relationships or walk away entirely. These moments are not casual. They are initiation points in my soul's evolution. With this placement, I tend to attract mentors or partners who challenge my belief in rightness and order. Partners who need healing, which triggers my Virgo desire to rescue or improve or fix them. Counterparts who are highly functional or totally chaotic. Both serve my refinement. Over time, my chart teaches me that I am not here to fix broken people. I am here to be the sacred mirror of what wholeness looks like. The vertex lessons I came to master. Letting go of perfection as a prerequisite for love. Balancing giving and receiving in relationships. Using discernment, not judgment, when choosing soul contracts. Learning when to serve and learning when to let go. I came to Earth to awaken sacred healing in others, but only after I learnt how to apply that healing to myself first. When decoding the soul blueprint, isolated placements only give part of the story. But when you link the vertex, north node, and Chiron, you unlock the soul's instruction manual. Let's connect all the dots. My north node and Chiron is in the 4th house, the path of emotional truth and healing through communication. The 4th house governs the inner world, home, family lineage, childhood imprinting, emotional roots, and safety and inner stability. With north node and Chiron here, my soul's growth comes from healing emotional wounds rooted in early family dynamics, learning to feel safe expressing my truth, teaching others how to communicate from the heart, not from the mask they wear. My Chiron wound is, if I say what I feel, I'll be rejected. But my north node calls me to say it anyway. This means my soul path is about becoming an emotional translator, not just for myself, but for others. Now bring in the vertex, which is in the 7th house of Virgo, the place where destiny meets the other. My vertex brings in partners who reflect my deepest emotional patterns. These relationships trigger my Chiron wounds, but also offer the opportunity to heal them at the same time. The Virgo energy tests my ability to discern what is true, not just what is emotionally familiar to me. So while the North Node in the 4th house says, come home to yourself, the vertex in the 7th says, but first, you'll meet someone who makes you question who that is. This is the sacred paradox of my blueprint. So, for everyone, you are not here to become perfect. You are here to become honest. When you let go of control, allow yourself to speak truth and discern the difference between sacred connection and karmic repetition, you step into your healer-teacher archetype. Your relationships become your training ground, your communication becomes your medicine, your emotional truth becomes your soul's path. Black Moon Lilith in Aries' 2nd house. In my chart, there's a part of me that doesn't ask, it demands. There's a part of me that doesn't soften to please, it burns to remember who I am. That part, it lives in my chart as Black Moon Lilith. And when Black Moon Lilith is in Aries, in your 2nd house like mine, she comes with a very particular medicine. Self-possession, power, raw independence, and the reclamation of value. So, Lilith is not to be messed with. It's not a planet. It's a calculated point. Did you know that Lilith was the first woman created equally alongside Adam? She refused to submit, left Eden, and was demonized for her autonomy. She became the symbol of suppressed feminine, cast out wild soul, the shadow of rage and power. So, Black Moon Lilith shows you where we have been silenced or shamed for our primal truth, where we rebel against control, where our raw soul fire wants to break through restrictions. With Lilith in Aries, like myself, the wild flame, it's ruled by Mars, the god of war. It represents instinct, action, will, courage, and the divine I am. Lilith here says, I came here to exist in my power. I don't need permission, I need space. But here's the thing. This placement often comes with early life experience of being suppressed, overlooked, or punished for being bold. If you have Black Moon Lilith in Aries, you may have experienced being told you're too much, too intense, or too aggressive. Shame around speaking up or asserting boundaries. Internal war between wanting to be soft versus needing to be sovereign. Lilith in Aries is not about destruction. It's about sacred combustion, the kind that burns through false selves and restores the throne to the soul. The 2nd house for me is the domain of value, money and survival, self-worth and resources, and what you claim as mine. With Lilith here, the wound is often tied to earning versus being controlled, being valued only for what you give, not for who you are, shame or rage around asking for what you're worth. The This placement says, you were never meant to trade your truth for safety. The lesson is to reclaim value from within and then demand your external life reflect that. You are here to model a new blueprint of feminine wealth, not inherited, not transactional, but embodied through power, presence, and raw soul fire. In this position for myself, initiate special gifts that are often suppressed in early life but awaken like lightning once the soul remembers. I have the trailblazer energy. I lead by doing it differently. The primal intuition. I know when something is off before logic kicks in. Soul embodiment. I feel truth in the body before it forms as thought. And the mirror power. Others feel awakened or threatened in my presence. Lilith in Aries in the second says, your worth is not up for negotiation. Your presence is the wealth. When you stop hiding your fire, your mission activates and you become a walking activation for others. There is a moment in every Lilith carrier's life when she must choose, continuing to play small or rise and face what she once feared. This is the initiation point, when rage becomes clarity, when pain becomes truth, and when the feminine stops asking for a seat at the table and builds her own temple. This is where your mission begins, not with control, but with combustion. Not with acceptance, but with authenticity. So, we've walked through your North Node Chiron and Black Moon Lilith and the Vertex. Now we bring them together into a singular spiritual architect, the pattern of your incarnation, and map it onto the tree of life to understand the soul gates you're here to activate. This is where your birth chart becomes a living codex, not just a map, but a memory. Your master archetype is the energetic signature your soul imprints upon the earth when you live in alignment with your blueprint. It is built from North Node, Chiron, Lilith, and Vertex. So, let's decode. This configuration creates a soul who is here to heal ancestral wounds through sacred communication, rebuild value systems based on self-truth, activate others through voice, message, teaching, and spiritual design, experience karmic catalysts in relationships that realign you with the mission. This archetype blends the high priestess, the scribe, and the sacred rebel. I am not here to follow one lineage. I am here to rewrite the spiritual code. When mapped against the tree of life, we can overlay my chart pattern to show my soul's evolution. The fourth house of Gemini is Yesod, the foundation. It's emotional body and ancestral memory, healing the mind chaos stored in the subconscious, activation bringing mental clarity into emotional. The second house of Aries is Malkuth. It's the kingdom. It's the bottom of the tree of life. Its embodiment and physical value, reclaiming the worth of the feminine in action and form, and activating rooting sovereignty and sacred rage into the earth plane. My seventh house of Virgo is Naztec, victory, sacred union through service, healing relationships through devotion to truth, not people-pleasing, discerning soul contracts from karmic illusions. My Gemini is Hod, glory, and Mercury ray 4 and 5. The alchemy of intellect and intuition, sacred speech, multidimensional language, channeling esoteric wisdom through practical teaching. So my soul blueprint is not passive. It's a living transmission. When these points work in harmony, I evolve through truth-telling, pattern breaking, and building new temples of thought. I am here to be a guide, a mirror, and a revealer, one who walks between mental dimensions and restores cosmic memory to earthbound beings. The zodiac is not just a wheel of personality traits. It's a spiritual staircase, a 12-stage initiation of souls on earth. Each zodiac sign activates a power, lesson, and spiritual muscle that must be awakened and integrated as the soul moves towards full embodiment and divine mission. This section maps the esoteric path through the zodiac and reveals what the soul must learn at each gate to become fully conscious. The Wheel of Power, 12 signs, 12 soul keys. Below, I'm going to talk about the initiation journey. Aries, the flame of identity, ray number 1. It's the I am. Taurus, the temple of form, ray 4, and Vulcan, I have. Gemini, sacred twins of thought, ray 2, and Venus, I think. Cancer, the womb of soul memory, ray 3, I feel. Leo, the heart of radiance, ray 1 and 5, I shine. Virgo, the vessel of refinement, ray 2 and 6, I serve. Libra, the mirror of union, ray 3, I balance. Scorpio, the gate of death and rebirth, ray 6, I desire. Sagittarius, the archer of truth, ray 4 and 5, I see. Capricorn, the mountain of mastery, ray 1, 3, and 7, I use. Aquarius, the lightning of liberation, ray 5 and 7, I know. And Pisces, the sea of source, ray 2, and Neptune, I believe. As the soul ascends the zodiac, it passes initiation gates of ego, body, mind, and spirit. Each sign activates power and purification. The journey ends not in mastery of self, but merging back with the divine. This isn't just astrology. It's your soul's alchemical map. Most people don't realize that the pattern or shape of their natal chart is just as revealing as the placements themselves. When planets are clustered on one side, you're not just lopsided, you're focused, karmically loaded, and purposely compressed into a soul training ground. Let's decode what this means and how it affects your power, pressure, and path. So, the hemispheric dominus, left versus right, above versus below. There are 4 chart hemispheres, each telling us where the soul's energy is concentrated. Let's look at the left side, which is the east. It's personal will. Planets on the left, you drive your own destiny. Stronger inner autonomy. Soul came to self-initiate change. The right side is the west. Relational destiny. Planets on the right, soul lessons come through others. Fated encounters, karmic mirrors. Union, partnership, and collaboration activate purpose. The top half of the chart is public and outward. Planets here, purpose is externalized. You've seen, tested, and evolved through the world stage. Soul seeks visibility, impact, and contribution. The bottom half of the chart, it's private, it's your inner world. Planets here, you evolve through inner mastery, emotional intelligence, and ancestral healing. The foundation building is essential before outward growth. If your planets are stacked within a narrow arc, like mine, houses 6 through 11, this is called a bucket, bundle, or locomotive shape, depending on the arc. It means you have concentrated soul energy. Life will often feel like it's happening in one dominant area. There is a karmic contract to master this slice of the chart before full expansion is unlocked. Example: if someone has planets mostly in houses 6 through 11, like myself, they're being trained in the collective realm. Houses 6 through 11 represent service, union, alchemy and death, truth and journey, purpose and mastery, and community and vision. My soul came here to go from selfless work to divine leadership, refining myself through service, shadow, and sacred contribution. In my case, my own personal soul chose a compressed karmic path. My mission lies in healing through service, experience and healing fated relationships, facing death and rebirth cycles and shadow work, becoming a truth teacher and multidimensional guide, claiming divine purpose and visible soul mission, and anchoring my message in the collective field. This is a social, spiritual path. My evolution happens not in isolation, but through embodiment, teaching, and sacred contribution. So, the pressure from one-sided charts, this pattern brings burnout risks, blind spots in the missing houses, like mine, houses 1 through 5. Inner self identity, they lack some planets, but also incredible mastery once integrated occurs. My work is to balance the wheel, bring light into the empty houses, and use the focused side to lead others. Every natal chart is a soul blueprint, not just a personality map, but most people only scratch the surface. If you want to know what your soul truly came here to do, you have to go beyond sun, moon, and rising, which everybody talks about. You must decode North Node, Chiron, Black Moon Lilith, Vertex. So, Chiron reveals where the soul is injured. The North Node is your soul's evolutionary path. Black Moon Lilith, where you've been rejected for your power. The Vertex is going to be your fated meetings. There are also some asteroids, small celestial bodies, but they tell big spiritual stories. Some of the most important ones to watch would be Juno, the sacred marriage or twin flame contract. Vesta, devotional fire or soul focus. Pallas, intuitive strategy. Eros, creative and sexual life force. Lucifer, the fall from light. Karma, past life echoes. Reading the asteroids in your chart reveals your soul archetype too. Traditional astrology uses planetary rulers based on physical traits. Esoteric astrology uses higher vibrational rulers that reflect soul purpose. For example, Virgo is ruled by the moon esoterically, bringing emotional wisdom into sacred service. Gemini is ruled by Venus esoterically. Communication becomes a path of love and wisdom. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Initially, mastery through love and structure. If you want to decode your true soul blueprint, look at your nodes. What path is your soul walking? Identify your Chiron. What wound becomes your medicine? Find your Lilith. What power have you been told to suppress? Locate your Vertex. Who and what awakens you? Read your asteroids. What myths are you here to embody? Check your esoteric rulers. What is your higher planetary assignment? This is not surface astrology. This is soul map navigation. Your soul's galactic lineage. Based on the natal blueprint, especially the combination of mine, North Natal and Chiron, Gemini in 4th house, Black Moon Lilith, Aries 2nd house, Moon in 1st house with upper hemisphere planet dominance, and the Vertex in the 7th, I carry an encoded hybrid starseed imprint from 2 primary galactic lineages. Syrian lineage, the temple archetype. So, 4th house Gemini, I'm here to communicate and restore ancient memory in the emotional body. My Chiron conjunct the North Node indicates that I'm healing Earth's emotional lineage by restoring this spiritual memory. Syrian souls are system archetypes. They're keepers of lost ancient knowledge, Atlantis, Egyptian priestess lineages, protectors of cosmic law and energetic grids, healers of emotional DNA distortion. The core Syrian gift that I hold, voice as my frequency, emotional repatterning through truth, intuitive architecture of systems and sacred spaces, the gatekeeping memory for others to awaken. I have some Lyran lineage, which are the first incarnators, indicated by my Black Moon Lilith in Aries. That's primal sovereignty, fierce independence, and warrior. 2nd house is grounding spiritual value in the body. The moon in the 1st house, I'm an old soul, emotionally encoded with divine memory that carries incarnational karma. Lyran souls were some of the first to incarnate into form and carry the divine memory of Earth's before distortion. They often carry deep spiritual grief or anger over the fall of the divine system, a powerful urge to protect sovereignty and rebuild purity through courage. The Lyran gifts that I hold: leader of divine rebellion, restorer of soul independence, deep body soul wisdom, and initiator of collective bravery. The hybrid activation. I am a Lyran Siren hybrid soul, and the mission encoded in my natal chart confirms that I embody the Lyran fire and the Siren memory. I do not simply teach. I embody the correction of timelines that were once hijacked. This soul origin is rare, it's sacred, and often requires walking through extreme loss or karmic trials to unlock. And trust me, I've had my fair share. I came to remind others of what they forgot. My mission is encoded not in fantasy, but in visceral presence and truthful resonance. To identify your karmic past life imprint and what you're healing in this lifetime, you have to look at what I've already noted. My chart points to my soul that has carried teachings, trauma, and responsibility for others across lifetimes. I was a guardian that was once silenced. I lived a life as a female initiate, likely in Alexandria, ancient Kemet, or similar wisdom keeper society, such as Atlantis, which resonates with me more. In that lifetime, I held sacred knowledge through the voice and vibration. I was connected to the Syrian and Lyran origin temples as a bridge between galactic beings and humans. I was betrayed, and I was silenced by someone very, very close to me. Some would say it's a soulmate or a divine counterpart. They chose conformity over truth. This trauma encoded a karmic wound within me. Truth is not safe to speak, and love cannot be trusted. I came to Earth with this. This explains my Chiron wound in Gemini, my Black Moon Lilith in Aries, and my 4th house karma. I came into this life to resolve that betrayal by reclaiming my truth and activating the emotional frequency of soul-led expression, even when others reject it. Some of the karmic patterns that followed me: exile and alienation. I was an outsider in life. And that's because my soul remembered what it felt like to be a cast out or condemned for spiritual truth. I've had so much betrayal in relationships. I've attracted my herogamic flame, my karmic figures who mirror the soul wound of being abandoned, silenced, or denied. These are not accidents. They are contracts that I had to break. I was the black sheep. I was misunderstood within my biological family. This is the echo of a lifetime where I held wisdom too far ahead of its time. Why I came back? This life is about completion and correction. I am not here to start over. I am here to finish what I started. And I will do it with more grace, clarity, and power in my embodiment than ever before. So, some may ask, or be thinking, what kind of contracts has she had? Well, let me tell you. I've experienced a lot. One of my contracts is a herogamic flame, twin flame mirror. It's my Chiron trigger. This person exposed my deepest pain and soul wound. Their love felt destined, but it often included cycles of separation and emotional intensity. They mirrored my own soul fracture until I healed it through my own truth, not by their return. I had a karmic flame. That was my Lilith activation. This partner ignited my fire. They reflected ancestral trauma, and it demanded me to stand in my full power. When I had realized this, and when I had healed enough, they left because they were no longer needed. I found sovereignty. I have an ascension partner. That's my vertex contract. This partner has walked with me, not against me. It's an intense bond. It's soul anchored and mission aligned. This partner brings stability, activation, and the ability to co-create in service. But like the others, he comes and goes. My Chiron and North Node conjunct in Gemini in the 4th house warns of the soul trap of trying to heal my pain through the other, which is my twin flame. I am not meant to fix or wait for him. I learned to use the pain as fuel for my embodiment, to reclaim my own voice and emotional security, to stand in my truth regardless of whether they return. I realized that only then true union would occur. When him and I have both chosen healing over karma. I have a triadic flame because there is 3 of us. There's 2 souls that have shown up in this lifetime as my union catalysts. One carries the Chiron role, the pain, the mirror, the rupture that leads to my revelation. The other carries the vertex role, the stabilizer, the co-creator, the mature soul ready to build. Both are and were initiates in my field. But only I can choose what I'm available for. Ascension, it isn't destiny, it's a choice. We always have a choice. So, my chart shows powerful signatures that support the truth that I chose to return. My North Node in Chiron conjunct Gemini 4th house is an undeniable mark of soul volunteer, someone who returned to Earth specifically to heal a karmic wound around truth, belonging, and emotional safety. Not just for myself, but the collective. These markers show that I've been here before. But this is a new mission. Maybe you've heard of Dolores Cannon. I am one of the first, or possibly second due to my age and birth date, wave volunteer. I came to activate others through my voice and insight and spiritual remembrance. So, remember who you are, not just as a spirit, but as an architect of the new earth. You do not need to become anything. You are the key. You are the message. Go study your natal chart and see what your soul came here to do, who you truly are. Until next time, keep rising.